Lists are wonderful, beautiful, magnificent things. While arrays allow us to add a whole bunch of variables into one single container, which is really convenient for organization and accessing lots of things in an organized and confident, comfortable way, they're also limited in the way that they're not expandable. They're kind of stuck with the initial state that they have. One way I like to think about it is a bit like a binder. Now I found one. I don't actually use that much paperwork working with computers nowadays, but I found this old Microsoft Works binder in a drawer. And it has a bunch of content in it. Kind of like an array, it's able to hold a bunch of different variables. In this case, each one might be a page, an individual page. And this has hundreds of them. And I'm able to open it. Maybe I won't do that in case it falls out, but I can open the rings and put more in or take some out, just like you can put things into an array and take things out of an array as well. However, as all of us have probably experienced, at least if you've used binders, there comes a time where you overfill it, where you're trying to just cram more and more pages, and you get to a point where it's so full that maybe the rings themselves pop off, or you just cannot fit another page in without it like bursting at the seams. There's a limit to how many things can be fit inside of this binder. Why was that limit there? Well, the manufacturer of it made it a certain size for the demand of the customers. Now, some binders come that are smaller, some come that are huge and really massive. This one was created with this sizing, and it's stuck this way. I can't exactly shrink it down or expand it, at least not easily, to allow it to contain more. So there's a hard limit on how many pieces of paper can fit in this array of paper. However, a list is something much more customizable. In a list, if that binder was a list, I would be able to go, you know what, I'm out of space, so let me, well, just imagine like a hinge or some magical like tab I could pull that then allows me to stretch out the edge of this so that there's double the space, double the amount of room for paper. And then I can open it up and maybe I can stretch the rings out and form them into bigger parts. Now I can fit another half amount of paper in here, or however many pages that I need. I can expand this on demand. That's what lists allow us to do. It's a really big luxury that's super useful. And not only that, lists come along with them a whole bunch of other behaviors that allow us to search them for different components they might contain. Things like, do you have inside of you this number, or this Boolean state, or this object? Can you rearrange yourself in some way? Can I compare you to something else in a different way? And I'll be slowly guiding you through some of these different behaviors that we have locked under lists for us. But just know that whereas arrays themselves were containers that might have a rigid, inflexible number that we're bound to, maybe only 3 slots, lists break this boundary open and free your data to fill more slots on demand when you need to. Plus they offer extra bonuses on top. Why, Mr. Rowell, do we not just use these for everything? Why doesn't everyone use them all the time? Well, they kind of do. But the reality is that this luxury of expansion and extra features is kind of heavy on the processing. It costs something. There's a tax on the processor. So if you have a very small program or one on a powerful computer, where you have lots of ceiling room in the processing power, using lists all over the place is not a problem. It'll make your life easier. Use them. But if you're working on software for a small chip or in an area where your program is already really busy and there's a lot going on, lists might just be actually a little bit too heavy and cumbersome in terms of processing. So you might need to go back to the nice simple array, which is really efficient and really straight to the point to get things done. Luckily, in a course like this, we're not going to get to any of those points. So really, you can just use the list type features all over the place however you want. But let's not forget our friendly neighborhood arrays, the things that provide the foundation for all these other things. But let's enjoy and celebrate the beauty of lists and the flexibility they offer us. I'll teach you more about how to use these in the different languages in the next branching videos. See you then.